I see y'all. I see y'all. What's good? What's good? What's good with it? Y'all, I guarantee. Let me see. Oh, god damn. Let me get this chat caught up. But hey, Sonya Davis. Hey, Felicia. Hey, Purple Purple. Hey, Shorty. Hey, Mo. You know, at least two of the people I hate cutting up in front of is in here. Damn. Hey, boy, I'm trying to tell you. Let me go ahead on and. No, I ain't gonna do that right now. Because that's going somebody gonna come up here. Listen, I'm kind of wide awake a little bit tonight. So, as I say that in our yarn, what's good? What's good? What's good? I am so glad you come to join me. So, it's sometimes, and this is something I'm going to kick it right on off. And I'm just going to look the other way and make like I don't see. And not that I don't respect everybody, because I do. But I know that some people, sometimes are above the bullshit. They just want to get to, the good stuff, right? The stuff that matters in life, or at least matters of in what we are gathered here for. But sometimes, y'all, listen, when I discover that my only enemies that I have in this world is right here on this motherfucker. You know what that does? That tells me that I don't have to, you know, take the suggestion of our beloved, how Oprah call it them beloved and all that shit with Maya Angelou used to call it my beloved and all that shit. You know, Michelle Obama. And she says when they go low, you go high. I don't want to do that all the time. I know we should, and that's proper, and your family would rather you do that and be the big person, and and whatever, and the spirits are gonna deal with those people and just keep soaring above and all of that. You understand what I'm saying? Well, one, I was already in a type of not a bad mood, none of that, whatever, but it just in a mood where it can go either way, depending on who's coming to fuck with me. It can go one way or the other. And then I was listening to Larry's live, and I hadn't heard one of his complete lives in a minute, especially in real time. So I was like, yeah. And then somebody apparently came into. Sometimes I'll have y'all lives on sometimes, and I don't be looking at the chats or anything like that, but I'll be listening to it, and I'll be working or whatever. And I heard, oh, did I speak to everybody? Oh, hey, Shawty, hey, Felicia, hey, Miss, hey, Purple, hey, Miss me, Miss Mo. Damn, I ain't shit. I just went on to talking. I turned my head and went to damn talking. Sorry, y'all, and everybody that's holding on to the one. And so I was listening to Larry, right? And somebody must be came in that chat and said something about his ass. And before you know it, he said, "Yo, mama won." And I usually don't indulge into the yo mama. I don't do that. I just don't do that. Because, where I'm from, you get your ass shot to death fucking somebody's mama. Talking about, and that includes talking about her ass too. You get fucked up around here talking about, but well, probably the motherfuckers I'm talking about Mama's probably, when, oh, boy, oh, baby, when you, when you are one of his own, whether you believe it or not, baby, ooh, because, baby, I can start talking about some of y'all mama. I can start talking about some of y'all mama. Ooh, in the spirit. Ooh, I think maybe Atmos was, instead of clicking on the link, he probably grabbed his Bible because he probably said, Miss Angie seems like she's gonna go there. I think Atmos somewhere flying all over my live and shit. Done grab this Bible. All the Bible thumpers be like, ooh, let's grab the Bible, honey, because she finna go there. Woo! Y'all see how the spirit got me? You say I got stuck. I got stuck right in my spirit. I was finna go there. I was finna go there. Woo! I was finna make some of my ancestors really, really pissed. Boy, I was finna go there, baby. I was finna go all the way there. Ooh, ooh. Child, I was finna get you. I was finna get you. But that's all right. I'll get you another way. I was got a little bit more, you know. Ooh, I was finna get you. I was finna talk about her, honey. Dead or alive, I was finna talk about her. I ain't gonna get you today. But anyway, so last night, whew, I started out on the course of trying to figure out where J Bo's strongest arguments would be, you know, when it comes to the appeal, right? And I wanted to match that up with what the prosecutors had already addressed, right? Because, most of, if not all of it, J-Bo's already, brought up on appeal before. Not appeal, I'm sorry, post conviction motions or motions or what have you. And the prosecutors had already responded to some, majority of this, right? If not all of it, in some form or fashion, depending on how she acts. How she raises the objections, that's how the prosecutors and the judge will respond. So what I've done is I've just taken out from last night. I've taken out the prosecutor's response, and I want to more just deal with the judges. You know, now really I don't know when the next time I'll be able to come on here, so maybe I'll be able to have it. Oh, excuse me. Have all three sides, but the when the appeals courts review all of this, they're going to review what the judge said, what was all on the record, what the prosecutor said then. If they're going to review what the prosecutor's answer will be to her appeal now, and then if they have to schedule for oral argument, then they're going to take that into account and all of that, right? So all of the above. In some cases, the answers may change a little bit. The answers may change a lot. Again, it depends on how J-Bo re-raises the arguments, right? So, and I think with the exception of how she approached the enterprise and the RICO charge and all of that, I think the rest of it is pretty much was the same, right? So I think we got enough into the weeds with the RICO. And the thing about when you're discussing the RICO, there is so much case law and everything that supports either side's point of view. right? Of course, it's more to support the prosecutors or what they said the law states and what they allege that they actually proved in court to be what a RICO makes. They have more. I mean, that's just how it is. I mean, it makes common sense. We're gonna have more law to support that, to support that, right? So we'll be in the weeds trying to figure out how this a new set of judges, foreign to us, is going to look at this and say, "Hey, okay, does J-Bo make a good point?" Because I mean, and here's the thing, right? When it comes to RICO, you're mainly asking someone to interpret the law, more or less to take it as it is plainly written, right? So that's gonna be, you know, we'll be in the we can do parts. I don't know 1 through 10 with regards to that to look at some of the the ways and to see which case law closely resembles the structure that the prosecutor stated that R. Kelly's company, his enterprise, best resembles, right? So that's gonna take some pulling, okay? Oh, excuse me. Oh, Lord, honey. Oh, how the Lord didn't, but the Lord knew I was going to get ugly. Oh, he was like, So, but before we get into that, right, and I'm going to get ugly on this because this is what I don't understand. I am not going to ever, never, ever understand because this is something that I don't do, and most simple, sensible people don't do shit like this, right? If I think that you are a bad math teacher, I'm not going to ask you shit about math. I'm not going to listen to you when you talk about math. You understand what I'm saying? Unless I trust that you can just give me the basics. But I got to go somewhere else to get the rest of the shit. And and I'm definitely not going to repeat shit you say. Especially if I don't know the correct way to repeat it, right? If I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I'm gonna have to start calling y'all the fake ass lawyers and shit out here on these streets. I'm gonna have to start using the shit you use on these streets to come at me and others on your motherfucking ass. Because apparently you don't know the definition of hypocrisy and copycat, none of that shit. You just don't know it. I don't know. Google that. Google what that means. You know, I'm never going to, if I think somebody is a fake police officer, I'm not going to contact them to get me reports and shit that they ass can't get. It just don't make sense to get that information stuff. So it doesn't make sense. So it just adds up to motherfuckers are full of bullshit. So in those cases, sometimes you have to make examples of people. Sometimes if it takes you 2 years, it takes you a year, whatever. It is what it is. That's how it works, right? So, but here's the thing: when you are trying to go into charted areas that you either know nothing of or you haven't never been there before, because if I'm not mistaken, there wasn't there weren't too many people in this sector, whether it be a blogger with a channel that's out going live on it, or just people in the chat, that wasn't running around here with all kinds of narratives. all kinds of emotions, all kinds of conspiracies, all kinds of theories. There wasn't one. Okay. Now it's been within the last few years where the people have realized, I don't know how they realized this, but that this is not the court of your emotions. It's the court of law. And everything that is going to lock a person up or free them is going to play out in the court of law. It's going to play out by what's called procedural and substantive law. Okay? So, it's going to play out on the merits of the case. It's not going to play out on they set them up, no text messages, none of that. And you ain't got to take my word for it. Did it? Now, you got two cases down. I just want to know, did it play out? I don't hear nothing. I hear crickets. I don't hear you. What you say now? Run that back. I ain't hear you. What you say now? Right. Your theories and your narratives and all that emotional shit did not play. I ain't hear now. Now all of a sudden we got somebody around here, you know, coming against the people that were emotionally charged with regards to this case, right? People saying this, that, and the third, whatever. Because and here's the thing, right? If you listen to the some of the case, some of the parents and some of the this and some of that and whatever, and you see this, and then if somebody is not telling exactly the whole truth and this, that, and third, whatever, no one can blame nobody for feeling a certain way. That's just common sense. That is being, human with the pulse. That's just like shit detecting a lie. And if you catch a motherfucker lying about two or three motherfucking things, then about something, then that's gonna cast doubt on whatever they say about that particular situation, right? So yeah, so um, there's not a problem about having certain emotions and theories and things of that nature, whatever. It's knowing this, and I'm gonna tell you the correct way. This ain't no bragging point or whatever, because that's not something I do. But I will probably go into disclaimer number 2, because the shit is so funny to me, right? And it's ridiculous, right? For a motherfucker to talk about you, but then try to copy you. I mean, I tell you, my life ain't even 24 hours in the ground yet. God damn. Anyway, so, but when you don't know what you're talking about, this is what happens. And me, now me being sometimes I can be, me, and I will let you run with whatever it is you run with. And then at a certain point in time, I'll come back and hit you with it because I wanted you to look like a fool and look like everything after I hit you with it, you're gonna look like a fool. That's just how it goes. Ain't nobody, I'm not never been the one for all that back and forth. I did more back and forth than I ever did in my life with anybody. So, but anyway, so what I want to explain to you is this, right? There's nothing wrong with people having their feelings, this, that, and the third. Just as long as you know that your feelings kind of stop at the doors of the courthouse. As long as you know that, and I told you long before I had a channel, Pay attention to what the lawyers say and do in the courtroom. I don't care if it's outside the courtroom or any of that shit. Pay attention to what they do inside the courtroom, because there are procedures that they must follow. And they have to either defend or prove their case based on the merits of the case. The merits are the facts and the law. And the merits is something that is travels all the way through appeals and so on, right? Because that's what they're going to decide the case upon. Okay, make a decision, right? With regards to what? Unless there is something that bars them from making a decision solely on that, right? So, a long time ago, motherfuckers was just snooping and creeping in my goddamn bushes. Probably doing it now. I spoke about a fundamental miscarriage of justice. And I was speaking about that when I was talking about um, habeas corpus and appeals, and I was talking about procedural bars and things of that nature, right? Okay. There's a difference between a fundamental miscarriage of justice and a miscarriage of justice. Now, see me, I will let you make a fool of yourself and say all the wrong shit and then laugh every time I hear it. But we're going to explain. I'm going to explain to you why J-Bo will most likely never raise anything about a miscarriage of justice, right? In the court of law, right? Not saying that not saying that she can't at some point. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying when I explain to you, you'll understand why she hasn't done that in the court of law at this point. Because when you raise a miscarriage of justice defense, right? You're actually saying that your client is actually innocent of the crime, that there isn't, that they shouldn't have been convicted based on those elements or the facts. So your client is actually innocent. He wasn't set up. It wasn't no holes there for nothing. Ain't nobody underage. Nobody traveled across state lines. Anybody got no herpes. None of this happened because your client is actually innocent. Those people are considered to be wrongfully convicted, which is unconstitutional. So she's not going to argue that because it wasn't a case of just circumstantial evidence. There was even through testimony, there was direct evidence, right? Because you had Jane Doe number whoever. It's direct evidence. You had videos. You had this. You had that. You had flight itineraries. You had this, that, whatever. And when someone is convicted due to a miscarriage of justice, they are usually compensated for that. And you're not taking from me. Because I'm start calling y'all the fake ass lawyers. I could have let this go on for some more months or whatever, but Jesus. I was speaking of is a fundamental miscarriage of justice. It's a part of the same, but it's different. And the arguments are different. Here's why. When it's a fundamental miscarriage of justice, usually mean that the person can be totally innocent or the person can be totally guilty. But because of some procedural errors or defects or defaults that happened during the case, that barred that person from getting a fair trial. So it's a fundamental miscarriage of justice that occurs then. Something happened that prejudiced that person during, the trial, and so on and so forth. The arguments are different. Uh-huh. So you gotta be careful when you gotta be careful. You gotta know what you're talking about. Hey Warrior, hey Markin, hey Kubi. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you're talking about someone that's, so when you see an attorney goes in to argue a miscarriage of justice, it's usually because some DNA has come about or it has been discovered that, hey, somebody gave a false confession. There was a witness, that made a um, false accusations or something like that. I mean, like truly false. Or there was true prosecutorial misconduct. Now, when I say true prosecutorial, I'm not talking about the prosecutorial misconduct Levi speaks of. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking that what Levi speaks of. Some of that is his theory of prosecutorial misconduct or just cooperation. Okay, I'm talking about true prosecutorial misconduct. I'm talking about suppression of evidence. I'm talking about threatening, witnesses and shit like that. I'm talking about that. All right, when you see somebody, when you see a prosecutor, someone on the prosecution team brought up on, charges or something like that. That's what I'm talking about. When you see an attorney going in and to argue a miscarriage of justice, it, most of the times is you usually see it when someone has like in a death penalty case or someone has been in jail for a long, long time and this and the third, whatever. Some DNA comes about or some written confession by the actual killer on their deathbed or some shit like that. Yeah. And in those cases, normally it was more of everything is pretty much circumstantial. Okay. But when it's a fundamental, so somebody can be guilty or not, but it's usually something happened that prevented that person from having a trial, a fair trial. So that's the difference. So most likely you'll never see her argue a straight up miscarriage of justice because it wouldn't make any sense, really. I'm not saying that he guilty, but I'm saying that the due to based on the elements and the facts, that it pretty much puts R. Kelly in place. It'd be different if it was like they blaming R. Kelly, but it was Keith Sweat that was there. That's different. No, they got DNA and shit like that. So there is a difference. So before people start talking about what other people out here arguing and what J Bo ain't gonna do and what she is gonna do and blah 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 blah, probably need to tighten up your shit. So anyway, let's get to the appeals part of this shit. So listen, So we went through RICO. All right. The next one I wanted to look at was about the jury, right? Because I think those are hot areas for JBO. You know, that is unconstitutional, right? So I want to look at what the judge said in response to the goddamn what she said about the jurors. Hold on. Whew. Let me see what she said about the jurors. And hopefully everybody understand that a defense of innocence is different than not guilty. Okay, than a plea of not guilty. Okay, defense of innocence is different than a plea of not guilty. I'm gonna start calling y'all the fake ass lawyers, baby. Y'all be putting it out here. Oh Lord. So that's what you call top bitch moves. Okay, now trying to get up. Yeah, people. Oh yeah. That's the jury. Okay, defendant was not a fair and impartial jury, where several of the seated jurors admitted that they prejudged the defendant's guilt and trial counsel provided ineffective assistance of counsel when he failed to move to disqualify patently unqualified jurors. Okay, that is her argument. All right, now I'm going to put up here what the judge has said. Cooper J, why is you laughing? Hey, like, listen, shit. If I sit up here and if I sit up here and let all the goddamn incorrect shit pile up, hell, that was funny as hell. Okay, so this is what the judge said with regards to the jury that was seated. Boy, I would get up here, boy, the Lord be saving y'all, baby. I'm trying to tell you. All right, so this is what Judge Donnelly said. And I'm gonna read the basis of what they use to, determine, right? I'm going to read about the prongs and all of that because this is what she answered this with, right? Now, we look at this, and the reason why we look at this and use this is it like pretty much as a guide, because one, the appeals court is going to do it too, but two is because the judge pointed to a lot of if we were at regular work, we'd call them job aids, cheat sheets and shit like that, right? That's what we would call it, right? But they call it prongs, standards, tests. That's what they use, okay? And to see, is J, but will J vote, will her argument win, or will they pretty much side with what has already been determined? So the judge said this. She said ineffective assistance of counsel Verdeer, right? The defendant attacks the performance of his trial lawyers during the Verdeer process, finding fault with 8 of the 12 regular jurors and with one alternate juror who did not deliberate. The defendant's claimed that his counsel did not do a meaningful Verdeer of potential jurors and should have probed more by asking additional questions and challenging certain jurors as unqualified. This argument fails for multiple reasons. A defendant claiming that his lawyer was ineffective must meet the two-pronged test articulated in Strickland versus Washington. One, the counsel's representation fell below an objective standard of reasonableness, and that there is a reasonable probability that but for counsel's unprofessional errors, the result of the proceeding would have been different. All right. So weeks ago, I started introducing you to errors. Okay, because that is what this whole next leg of this proceedings is going to be about: errors and defaults and deficiencies and this, that, and the third, right? Okay, because you're not relitigating what has already occurred. We're just looking at errors. Errors and what's the remedy to them. Okay, so now the Supreme Court has already, and I'm not reading this, I'm just telling you, the Supreme Court has already stated that your attorney does not have to be seen as one that performed over the moon and got it all right and whatever. Okay. He just had to have been able to do a reasonable job. He didn't have to be the best and all of that. He just had to have done a reasonable job and not have to have done nothing that would just really render you a unfair trial, that would have resulted in a different outcome. Okay. They've already got that out there. And that is a recent ruling. I want to say within the past 5 years or something like that. It says, under the first prong of Strickland, a defendant must identify the acts or omissions of counsel that are alleged not to have been the result of reasonable professional judgment. Judicial scrutiny of counsel's performance must be highly deferential, and courts must indulge a strong presumption that counsel's conduct falls within the wide range of reasonable professional assistance. Relief may be warranted when a decision by counsel cannot be justified as a result of some kind of plausible trial strategy. Selecting a jury and strategy are inseparable. It says the Second Circuit in 2005, recognizing that whether to seat a particular juror is a paradigmatically strategic decision. Counsel has to evaluate not only the juror's word, but must assess the juror's credibility by considering her demeanor, her reactions to questions, and other intangible factors that a cold record will not reflect. In addition, counsel must make judicious use of preemptory challenges, as well as compare jurors with one another in an effort to select the best jurors for his client. For these reasons, courts are loath to second guess the decisions of counsel during jury selection because selecting a jury is both, strategic as well as one of, make good common sense, right? So, hey, that's now you can argue that it being a strategic defense, being strategic shouldn't play either way, right? Because it should be based on, it should be the bottom line, it should be common sense and take into an account that which would encompass it being both strategic and best for your client and make sense and all of that, the whole gamut, right? But they separate these things. They put them together, but they separate them for a reason. I say sometimes it is to catch your ass. Don't come back later because you just don't like the results type of situation with some of this shit, right? With some of these prongs and the test and shit like that. They put, put put a trial counsel through, right? When they're raising objections after the trial. But hey, it is what it is. As much as you can say these little built-in things can hurt the client in the end. There's a lot of them that's built in that also helps your client, right? That nobody ever points out when the shit results in your ass being found not guilty when your ass probably is guilty, right? So hey, yeah, take it on the chin. Hey, that's I guess what I'm trying to tell you. You gotta take it. Hey, you gotta take it and just go with it. Shit. It says it is not the role of the court to second guess counsel's reasonable strategic decisions at jury selection, especially considering that counsel is strongly presumed to have rendered adequate assistance and made all significant decisions in the exercise of reasonable professional judgment. And it says the Sixth Circuit in 2001, counsel is accorded particular deference when conducting voir dire, and attorneys' actions during voir dire are considered to be matters of trial strategy. 11th Circuit of 2009, review of counsel's performance is highly deferential in any case, but the case for deference is even greater when counsel is evaluating credibility. To satisfy the prejudice prong of Strickland, the petitioner must establish a reasonable probability that, but for counsel's unprofessional errors, the result of the proceeding would have been different. The level of prejudice the defendant need demonstrate lies between prejudice that had some conceivable effort and prejudice that more likely than not altered the outcome in the case. Says the benchmark for judging any claim of ineffectiveness must be whether counsel's conduct so undermined the proper function of adversarial process that the trial cannot be relied on as having produced a just result. A defendant alleging ineffective assistance during voir dire must show that the juror was actually biased against him in order to show prejudice. It says December 15, 2009. In order to establish that trial counsel was ineffective for failing to challenge a prospective juror on voir dire, actual bias must be established. Actual bias is bias in fact, or the existence of a state of mind that leads to an inference that the person will not act whew, with entire impartiality. Actual bias can be found where the juror admits partially or where partiality can be inferred from the juror's voir dire answers. The defendant falls far short of this exacting standard. The record shows that the lawyer who conducted the voir dire, a lawyer with years of criminal trial experience in both state and federal courts, participated actively in the process. Before the court questioned the prospective jurors, counsel went through the questionnaires and made decisions about which jurors were appropriate to question and which to challenge for cause. Once the oral voir dire began, counsel demonstrated a thorough knowledge of the information and questionnaires, and frequently asked that the court pose additional questions to prospective jurors. He successfully challenged prospective jurors for cause over the government's objection, mm, and made Batson challenges to the government's use of peremptory challenges. He also exercised peremptory challenges when he deemed it appropriate. This active participation in voir dire indicates that any decisions to challenge or not to challenge jurors were made as part of reasonable trial strategy rather than the result of counsel's failure to provide effective assistance. Ooh, oh Lord. Now, that is a mouthful, meaning this, right? She's actually kind of supporting that the defense attorneys did a decent job. Let's see. She is actually saying they did a decent job. Not only does the record thoroughly refute the defendant's argument on ineffectiveness, see if I scrolled up, I would have got it. It is also clear that the defendant has not established that any juror was actually biased, let alone all nine about whom the defendant complains. Mm. The defendant claims, nevertheless, that counsel was obligated to challenge any juror who had watched Surviving R. Kelly, a documentary about the defendant, or who had heard of something about the defendant's prior criminal prosecution. Ooh, ooh. But qualified jurors need not be totally ignorant of the facts and issues involved, and it was sufficient if the juror can lay aside his impression or opinion and render a verdict based on evidence presented in court. Mm. Each juror confirmed his or her ability to render a fair and impartial verdict. Moreover, none of the challenges the defendant asserts on appeal would have warranted grant a challenge for cause. And an excess of caution. However, I address the defendant's complaints about the individual jurors. And when it's a challenge for cause, it means that they have a reason to challenge that particular juror. There's something, maybe the R. Kelly, surviving R. Kelly shit or whatever. And peremptory challenges is like you don't have to give a reason why you're wanting this juror dismissed. So let me come right now. So maybe sometimes I'm gonna have to look at this stuff. And I like to do stuff live and just go get it and look at it as we're going or whatever. Cause it's sometimes a leisure somewhere, but sometimes maybe if I do a little homework before I do these lives, I will come around here and be like, huh, okay. So, hmm, Judge Donnelly kind of Oh, oh, Lord. Excuse me, y'all. Judge Donnelly kind of addressed this whole ineffective assistance of counsel claim with regards to this jury and supported the counsel doing a decent job. Now, I'm not saying that I expected anything different. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, oh, excuse me, y'all. Whoo! I'm saying that she kind of gave an answer that said that hey, they were really involved in this process, right? And kind of laid out, how involved, and she took it as more of this was defense counsel strategy to have these jurors, sit and jury picks based on strategy is allowed. It's one of the problems. Mm. Although I still think that this is one of the hot spots for J-Bo's appeal. Oh, oh, whew. I kind of lose a little, you know, a little excitement for it when I go back and revisit what the judge said. Not saying that the appellate court won't see it a different way. I'm saying that they're going to consider what the judge wrote here. Oh, y'all. Excuse me. I am sorry, baby. Hold on for a minute, y'all. Drop that damn link, but right, yeah. Well, I knew her decision order was a mouthful. I said it when I read it, but sometimes when you go back after, you know, the you read the appeals brief. Lord have mercy, and then you see what the judge. Oh, excuse me. Damn, that is so improper. I'm just yawning and shit, and you see how the judge responds to because now when you look at this, some of this is the judge is answering for what she did during the trial. Some of this is what the judge is answering what happened, what the other side did with regards to the trial. Okay. So she is saying that the defense attorney, oh, excuse me, did their did his job. And she's saying that, and that's what she's saying. When you go back and look. So what was that other hot spot? I'm gonna sleep, honey. Thought about that. What was the other thing? Oh, bad act material. Um, hold on, bad act. Uncharged bad act evidence, right? What did Oh, excuse me. Okay. All right. So I want to get all the way down to. She talks about the videos. Okay. Listen to this. And this is something about the videos, right? This is in regards to challenging the videos. And I think she was saying that I think Jabo what she says. Defendant was denied a fair trial where the government swamped the jury with excessive bad act evidence, including testimony from seven additional witnesses who detail defendant's unusual and graphic sexual activities, his history of transmitting herpes to his sex partners, his abusive conduct towards his girlfriends, and even audio and video recordings of this conduct with women and men, some of whom never testified, right? He said the defendant was denied a fair trial. Okay. Now, the judge says that finally, the defendant faults trial counsel for challenging the videos belatedly. As explained above, the evidence was admissible, so counsel could not have been ineffective even if making a belated objection constituted ineffective assistance of counsel. Oh, wait a minute. So I think Jabo went around this by not saying, by not raising that the counsel was ineffective by allowing the bad evidence as she did with regards to the post conviction motion. She just went right in and saying that he was denied a fair trial due to this allowing this bad act evidence, which I'm pretty sure she said that it prejudiced her client. Hold on, let me see. Okay, okay, prejudiced by his. Okay, hold on. I'm scrolling through. Okay, to find. Yep. So, and I'm sure y'all ain't making it up. Let me put it on the screen. So she did argue that it prejudiced her client. Hold on, take this down. And put it up here so you can see. I look for the a keyword words. Okay. So this is the area I was in reading in, right? About the bad act evidence. So to show you that she did make an argument with regards to it to prejudice her client, right? You see, right, as I already highlight because you heard me control Fing looking it up, right? To see if that's what she did. And that's what she did, right? So she went by a different way. So she didn't. So when she took a stab at it with this appeal, she didn't go at it being this was ineffective assistance of counsel. She went at it just straight up. This was a, this prejudice to her client, which was, unconstitutional. It was unduly prejudiced. Risk for prejudice. So, hmm. So listen, this might not be interesting to y'all as far as to figure out, like, to see how J-Bo is like will goes around certain things and whatever. But this woman is pretty goddamn good. So she, in her with her post conviction motion, she raised that it was ineffective assistance of counsel with regards to, hold on, let me make sure. I don't tell you no lie. Hold on, go back to the judge. Oh yeah, no, she went. Okay, no. She did this. Okay, this straight up. So she did. This was evidentiary ruling. So she went at it as evidentiary rulings. So why did the judge said that she said it was ineffective? Maybe J-Bo made both arguments in the hunt. I don't know, and I'm too sleepy to go back and look. But anyway, even if she did, J-Bo went directly for, hey, this prejudiced my client. Okay, which makes it unconstitutional, which is what I told you that she was most likely going to do. argue, raise several of these issues, being that it was unconstitutional because it prevented her client from having a fair trial, which, of course, according to the Constitution, can't do that. Excuse me. Now, but the judge kind of covered herself by saying that, hey, this would have been allowed anyway. But now, do J-Bo tip? Now, do J-Bo win the tip on this? Because yeah, it could be. Yeah, it was allowed. That's why you admitted it anyway. But then you get to the next goddamn hurdle, and when it's too much, to where it it it, it outweighed the probative value. Hold on, did it outweigh the probative value? Yeah, yep, it outweighed the probative value at the risk of see. So I don't know. Let me put that on here so y'all can see what I'm looking at. Huh. And I weigh the well, this is what it means. I weigh the probative value with the risk of prejudice. You can't do that. So you can't allow that. So the judge can say, well, yeah, this is admissible all she wants to. But when it outweighs the probative value and the risk being prejudice to someone, you don't supposed to allow that. That's when going through the trial, you remember she was saying propensity evidence and things of that nature. This is what she was talking about. So I don't know. So I kind of so I've decreased my excitement about the jury thing, the jury objection, and then so I still like this the the bad act evidence. I still like this more. Still like that more. Hey Cookie, hey Queenie, hey Angela. Uh, Still like that more though. So, ooh, y'all, baby, I am sleepy as hell. Listen, I'm gonna take my ass to bed because that's what I need to do. I ain't never worked so much in my damn life. Uh-uh. Oh, listen. Now this is what you can do. This ain't got nothing to do with this case, but I'm gonna tell you, this is some crazy shit here. Do y'all ever sit and think, okay, this is how I'm gonna make it do what it do. I'm going to find the, the spots, right? That you can make the most money in in several different ways. Work the shit out of it. I'm talking about work its investment shit, work its the way they pay you, work all of it for I don't know how many years you is, and then I'll be done with it, right? Uh, Excuse me, I keep yawning. Shit, I'm sleepy as hell, y'all. I didn't get up the hell up off him because I am sleepy. But anyway, and so I said I'm gonna do that. Which if I tell somebody else, I'll work with you. I don't know. Oh, I don't know. Mm-mm. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on, wait a minute. I gotta wash my hair real quick. I can tell you something. I gotta wash my hand. Hold on. Oh God. Ooh. Oh. 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 Yeah. Oh. Ooh. Shit. Oh. I got. Oh. Oh. Goodness. Mm, 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 mm. Oh Lord. Now that's a long way to walk. God damn. Oh shit. Hmm. Hey, Danny, child, I damn near forgot y'all was on here. Yeah, I gotta go to sleep. But I gotta go sleep, y'all. I will holler at y'all when I get a chance, but I gotta go to sleep. Everybody want me to goddamn do this, handle this, do this, do that. Shit, I'm sleeping. All right, y'all. Good night.